Now it's time for Birds and Brains with your host, Quinton Quill, and special guest, Dr. Aviari, and live via satellite, brain function specialist, Dr. Arlene R. Taylor. Here's Quinton.
Oh my!
They must be crazy about us.
Or maybe just plain crazy. Hello, and welcome to Birds and Brains, where we talk about amazing and fascinating facts about birds and, and human brains. I crack up every time I say human brains. I'm Quinton Quill, a rose-breasted cockatoo and host. Being the intelligent bird that I am, I oft ponder the oddities and curiosities, the differences and similarities and the uniqueness of bird brains and the brains of humans.
There he goes again!
That's so funny to me. Oh yes, I forgot to introduce you to Clifford, an African gray. Say hi, Clifford.
Hi, Clifford.
We're here in jolly old London, and I'm so happy to welcome avian researcher and a most attractive green-winged macaw, Dr. Aviari. Glad to have you here, Dr. Aviari. Let's fly right into the topic. Now, I'm told that humans use the, quote, bird brains as an insult.
Imagine that!
Typically, bird brains are dense with tiny, tightly packed neurons. Songbirds and parrots, for instance, have more neurons than even primate brains of similar mass. Avian brains thus have the potential to provide much higher cognitive power per unit of mass than do mammalian brains. Some parrots are capable of cognitive feats comparable to those of great apes.
Are you mammals listening? Dr. Aviari is not monkeying around.
That was cute.
You see, the palladium in birds corresponds to the cerebrum in human brains. This means that fowl, perhaps with the exception of seagulls and domesticated turkeys, have the potential for much higher cognitive power per unit of mass than do most mammals. And cockatoos, ravens, jays, macaws, and crows are believed to be extremely intelligent.
That explains so much. But speaking of fowl...
Don't go there!
I'd read somewhere that these same birds can think and problem solve at the same level as an average 7-year-old human. How do you explain that?
Research says that intelligence is not always related to the number of neurons, but how densely connected they are with other neurons.
Interesting.
Einstein is said to have had a relatively small brain, but mega connections among neurons was absolutely off the charts. Having said that...
Having said what?
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 They have a fabulous prefrontal cortex, and believe it or not, some humans seem to exhibit lower levels of cognitive function due to the lack of use than do some fowls.
Fowl? Fowl? Did I hear someone say fowl?
Stop it, Quinton!
Some birds can make and even use tools. They have an amazing built-in GPS for directional finding, which is essential during migration. Recent studies have suggested that homing pigeons use infrasounds to help them navigate back home. Sound outside the range of hearing for humans, but which they can often sense or feel.
Is that why birds of a feather migrate together? As you were saying, good doctor.
Birds can problem solve, make inferences about cause and effect, plan their future needs, and evidence other cognitive skills formerly thought to occur only in mammals. Crows have been found to pass on cellular memories to their offspring. Typically, fowl have a positive mindset unless they are sleep-deprived, sick, or wounded. They sing and whistle and chirp to keep their spirits up as well as those of their friends. When a bird stops communicating through sound, likely something is very wrong.
Good point. I've heard Dr. Taylor say that everything begins in the brain, and it starts with a mindset. If you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right.
Yes, and in humans, it goes something like this. Thoughts create mindset, which determines self-talk, which drive actions and behaviors, which influence how healthy you are, and which impact your longevity.
Interesting.
Brain scans have shown that humans may communicate best with its brain by talking to it as if it is a separate entity. Dr. Taylor said to start with your given name so the brain knows who you are talking with. Then use the pronoun you, followed by positive words in the present tense. Only tell your brain what you want to have happen as if it's already happening. If your brain thinks that now is the time, then it will immediately react.
I think that I have this self-talk down. Check this out. Quinton, you are a gorgeously fabulous rose-breasted cockatoo. Quinton, there are no words. Simply no words.
Well, in principle, you got it. Affirmation is said to be the programming language of the subconscious in humans, maybe in bird brains as well, but I don't know.
Very informative. Now it's time to bring my favorite brain on the planet, and the only human I can tolerate, Dr. Arlene Taylor. Hello, Doctor.
Hi, Quinton.
I like your new jacket. It's rose-colored.
In fact, it is.
We have so much in common. Dr. Aviari and I have been chatting about bird brains versus human brains. And as you know, we film on location, which means tons of travel. How does travel impact the brain?
Travel is considered a stimulating anti-aging strategy for humans because it challenges their brains with new sights, sounds, smells, tastes, topography, music, people, customs, and animals. Travel can be local, national, or international. The brain thrives on variety and new experiences.
Dr. Taylor, any comments on neurons in bird brains versus those in humans?
One study showed that a cockatoo brain weighs about 10 grams with up to 3 billion neurons. An adult human brain weighs in about 1,200 grams, but it's not nearly so densely packed with neurons. Estimates are there are about 86 billion neurons in the cerebrum, or gray matter, and another 16 billion in the cerebellum.
That's a respectable number of neurons, especially if the humans are using them. Well, that brings us to the end of today's program. Thanks to Dr. Aviari and to my favorite brain function specialist, Dr. Arlene Taylor.
Thanks, Quinton.
Until next time, this is Quinton Quill from Birds and Brains wishing you a positive mindset and empowering self-talk. Say goodbye, Clifford.
Goodbye, Clifford.
Birds and Brains is filmed before a live avian audience.